This is not really an unboxing, I suppose it is. It's just a quick review because I just couldn't find anything online really about the Panasonic HXA100. It's a little wearable action camera, yet another wearable action camera. So this is a bit of a bullet cam. You get about, how far is that? It's probably 60, 70 centimeters. Says Panasonic, just in case you don't know. There's a little tap there that signifies that's the vertical position, so it is rotatable. There's no screen on this, and what you do is you turn it on, and basically you can cycle. If you touch this Wi-Fi button, you can see there you can cycle between, that's SSID, Bluetooth, so you get different options there, or I'll turn it off because I have actually already paired this using the app. You can lock it, or you can just press that for record and that for still, and you'll get, so you don't need the app to control it, but that's basically what I'm going to be doing. So I'm just going to take this for a bit of a test drive. Oh, it doesn't like me because I'm taking the card out. I'm going to take this for a bit of a test drive against my benchmark camera, which is a Hero GoPro 4. So if I take all the bits and pieces out, you get the usual array. Oh, that's a wearable armband that you put the case into. So I'm just going to press and hold that to go off. Yep, turn off. And then that's a bit of a bullet mount to go on the side of a helmet, obviously. So there's a couple of different configurations that you can use. So I'll set it up. I'll do some side-by-sides. This is the test rig, so that's the Panasonic HXA100. This is my GoPro Hero 4. This one, there you go, and this one is a little SJ4000. So this came out a couple of years ago as a GoPro killer. So it's got a 1.5-inch screen at the back. The GoPro screen is so much clearer and brighter. It's 2-inch, but basically I've set up this little rig to try and get a comparison for all three of them. So this little gimbal is not too bad, but not being able to adjust and see the picture as you go is a real pain. Even this SJ4000, the little battery packs for it are there are $3 or $4 on eBay. The battery life's pretty appalling. You can see here I charged it this morning. It's showing 1 pip, but it is a few years old. And the GoPro showing 2 pips charged about a week ago. So be interested to see what the comparison was like. That was a $500 camera. This was sort of a $350 camera. But this little SJ4000 in that waterproof case, they're about $25 Australian. That's probably more of an even comparison. So this is the all-important coffee making test. Close the door. Alright, so this is just a little bit of a test to go into a darkened area. Film the lights. So there's very, very little light in here. 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 Straight up into the sun. Straight up into the sun. Straight up into the sun. So what I've done is I've just sort of, I want to hook it up and do a double camera comparison. So I've got my Hero 4 here, and obviously I've got the Panasonic on the same mount. This is not my normal helmet, but it's one I actually use in the bush for night riding, so it's got a mount here for lights. But the only thing I don't like about this so far is that you've got to wear this on your sleeve So it's a bit of a palaver, and if you pull on it or yank it, it's obviously going to come to some sort of grief. So that's a bit of a negative so far. But otherwise, the mount seems pretty strong. A little adjustable gimbal there. I don't know how stiff it's going to be. This one is absolutely rock solid. So I've put this thing on, and so far I really kind of feel that it's going to slip down, but we'll see. I'll put that helmet on, and yeah, I've got plenty of movement, so so far that's okay, but I'm just not convinced that that's not going to, it feels like a tourniquet actually, and if you try and adjust it, you're kind of stuck, so you've got to pre-seat it, slip your hand through, and then really do that up fairly tight, and there's not much grab there. Probably designed for someone with bigger arms than me.
So both cameras are recording in 1080p, 50 frames a second. And both set on the wide setting. So the Panasonic has a similar field of view. The wide setting is actually probably wider than the GoPro Hero 4.
So I just had a bit of fun here. I just stuck the camera pretty much anywhere that I thought it would go without either being hit by the wheels or the pedals or something like that. It's pretty versatile. It didn't move when it was in place. I just basically used the Velcro strap to attach it to parts of the bike and then adjusted the little gimbal without using the Wi-Fi or the screen, basically just relying on that 160-degree field of view to hope for the best. And generally it worked out pretty well. I did a fair bit of sort of minor jumping, so basically it shows that it was pretty good. This also gave me a chance to test out the Wi-Fi range, which practically is about 12 metres. And this is a quick check of stills between the GoPro and the HX. So the GoPro much sharper on 100% crops than the Panasonic camera, which is really pretty poor.
So there's some real pluses to this little unit. One is that the weight of it is really light. So with this little gimbal attachment, which sort of locks and allows you to swivel, and it gives you a few degrees of sort of lateral movement, it's quite versatile. And as you saw on the bike, you can pretty much stick it wherever you want. But the real frustration is with no screen. If I want to see what's on the picture, basically I've got to turn it on, press the Wi-Fi, go into my Wi-Fi settings, wait for it to pick up. Okay, A100 wearable, if you can see that. Okay, jump out of that, go into the image app, and then wait for it to load. And this is pretty much as fast as you can do it. Connecting to camera. Okay. No memory card, that's okay. But you can see how long that took. So that's a real frustration, and that's a massive negative. So no screen on this little unit is a real negative. Whereas this is an old Drift HD, which I didn't test. Don't even know if it's got any charge in it. There we go. Look at that. Hasn't been used in about a year. It's heavy, but it's got a screen on the side. So it is possible to have little units with screens. This has got Wi-Fi too, by the way, and it's full HD. So that's why this really does get a bit of a negative from me.